What's up, everybody? Welcome to Quantum Ascent. I have KNC Kyber Network Crystal up on the screen. Full disclosure, I don't own any of this, but this was a request from one of the members in my group. So I figured I would share it here on X and YouTube with all of you guys. So let's go ahead and dive in. What we're going to be looking for here is finishing up Altseason, right? We're looking at waves 3, 4, and 5 across the board. KNC, we'll talk about it in a sec here. This is the monthly chart. This is going to be the cleanest way for us to be able to read this right now. Okay, that's how we have our 1, our 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And you're probably saying, well, why is that a 3 up there? Well, within that, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 4 taps wave 1. Beautiful. Up we go. All right, so that's that run up there. From the inception point, this thing was released during an alt season, November 2017. So it was released right before it. During alt season, it went about a 6.5x. After alt season, it went about 98% down. All right. It did end up setting a new high over here in early 2022. A lot of the market topped like back here, 21. Thing ended up topping out here. And since then, we've just been in a drawdown, 5 waves down at the low, about 95% down now. All right. I'm just curious. I'm going to draw fibs from this low to this high. Yeah, and we're way below all of them right now. So definitely have some room to make up here for KNC. Now, what I'll say about this token is the market cap is only $65 million. That is very small. I don't touch coins like this, to be completely honest. With that small of a market cap, it doesn't take a ton of liquidity for this thing to start moving up. You look right here in 2021. Early 2021 was another alt season. What did we get? 464%. So 2021 alt season, we got 464%. 2017 alt season, 540%. So we're right around like 5-6x on the other alt seasons, right? Even just looking at these moves here for these waves, let's see. That one, 500%. This one, 400%. So we're seeing like 400-500% on each of these moves. Like literally like every single one. And those are all taking place within like a month or two, right? That one a little bit smaller here. But you see that each of these little moves, like including the alt seasons, you're not getting more than a 6x, right? So for KNC right now, what we need to find out is where are we headed right here? Okay, and this countdown here, we're on the monthly time frame. I'm going to break it. Let's go down to the weekly. Maybe it'll make it a little bit easier to see. But to be completely honest, that broke down pretty far below that wave. So how I'm looking at this right now is it sure seems like, except this is a pretty long time to do it, an ABC up to the top. I'm going to show you 2 different counts here. An ABC up to the top. We're coming down right now for a wave 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to go 3, 4, 5 and blast off. That's one count, okay? The alternative count is that it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, cross a little below 1, and it technically can. It just wouldn't be that impulsive of a structure, and we probably wouldn't clear this area out here. But while we're looking at this candle, I'm just curious, how much do we get? 2.7x on that third wave. So 2 alternate counts. What we really just want to kind of look at now is what's our target and what are some stopping grounds along the way, right? Because from an LUA perspective, this could go either way right now. With these being monthly candles, I am leaning towards just one more wave here. Or sorry, these are weeklies now, but I am just kind of leaning towards one more wave here across the board, a 5th wave. But in that 5th wave, on a shorter time frame, you could see 5 waves up. If we looked at this on a shorter time frame, we'd be able to see a better movement there. Okay, so still a little sticky with what's going on there, but let's talk about some targets. Before I do that, guys, join the Quantum Circle, entries, exits, strategies, emotional and mental clarity, 2 daily macro videos. Link to that in the bio. Check that out. That is the real alpha, my friends. You definitely want to be in that for alt season. All right. Coming down from that high goes all the way back to March of 2022. All right, so a lot of the market set new highs right here in December, or at least we're a little bit higher up, right? KNC, not the case at all. You could even take a trend line and connect. You have boom, 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 boom. A bunch of connections there. So there is a strong resistance here holding us down, right? We got to pop through that. Haven't been able to do it since September of 2022. And yeah, honestly, if you even pull this through, you could keep going and you get these tops here, right? Now we're going all the way back to March of 2021. You guys see the resistance. Let's talk about some targets. This up here on the way up, all of these fibs are going to be resistances for KNC, okay? But what I want to do is I want to take that Trump pump drawdown, our last like real local high. I'm going to draw a fib there. I'm going to pull it down here, all right? And what do we see? Well, we see some confluence up here. The full extension of that move here takes us up to the 50% retracement on the macro. The 50% right here is a huge area for things to make it back up to. What that means is over this entire drop, we will have taken 50% of that drop back at that point. Okay? And we do see confluence with the 4236 there. So if we're looking at this like this, what I would be saying is, all right, that macro 5 is going to go up there. What does this little wave count look like to get us up there? Right? And this could happen pretty quick. We might look at this third wave. That was 1 week. That 1 week, it went 75%. And that could happen with these smaller caps, and you can't really count a wave in there. So we'll do it anyway. If I were to guess using math, we'd go up here, probably hit that trend line, come back down to the 236. And what we're really interested in right now is waves 3, 4, and 5. That's what we've been talking about across the board. Typically, a wave 3 can break out of that last local high, and it'll come back down to back test it or back test this area. What happens is price breaks out, and it suckers retail in. Oh, it's breaking out. It broke that high. Nope, let's come back in. Retail's going to sell. It's going to go up. Retail's going to chase again. And that's just how it works. And that's how the institutions make money. Here, let's do this. All right, so right now, it sure looks like we're looking at a macro fifth wave. I guess another way you could look at this too, there's just so many ways to look at it from an Elliott wave perspective, is you could say that we're looking at like a macro ABC, and what we had in here was an ABC, and what we're going to be working on the way up, because we're talking about 3 waves, would be an ABC. Let's change some of these colors. Okay, so it's not super clear, this count right now. There's a couple different ways to do it, but either way, we're looking at 3 decent-sized waves to get us up there, potentially a 5 stop out there. Let's just talk about 3 for an ABC. Obviously, there's going to be some resistance around that 56 cent level. I'll just put that there. The A wave, would love to see it pop up above, and again, come back down to back test that high or this area. How do we know? Well, typically on that correction mid-alt season, usually a 4th wave. In this case, we're looking at it as maybe a B wave. You're looking at 35 to 50% drawdown. And with these lower cap alts, you're going to be closer to the 50% mark because there's less liquidity. People take money out. It drops a lot faster. That last high in this scenario would only be 31%. 786, 40%. 702, 45%. And then down here at the 618 gives us that 50%. So here's what I'll say is typically I would be looking for that 50% there. But this wave here, if this is an A/C, made it up to the 702 and got rejected. I look over, resistance there, all the way across right here. So for me, I want to flip that as support. That takes us on top of that wave. So structurally, everything stays intact and looks really pretty, especially if you're calling this like we talked about before, a 1, a 2, and then this is 3, 4, 5, right? There's just so many different ways to count it. What we want to be paying attention to are the end targets and the Fibonacci's. That's the key here in this situation. So looking for a run up to 134, a drop back down to 73 cents, and then we ride off to Valhalla. Honestly, looking at this thing with the 0.5 being at 298 and this being at 310, $3 is such a nice round number. That's where I'm going to have my target at the $3 mark here, right? And again, we've showed a couple different counts on how to get there. But for now, that's what I'm looking at. And hey, look, I understand there's people that are going to be really upset by this, right? Only coming back up into a retracement. But the thing you need to understand is from where we're at right now, a lot of the market is looking at like a 10x, okay? Where are we at for KNC at this level? Like a 9x, getting us up here, okay? Now, what I'll say is, again, it's a small cap coin that could get carried away. If it gets carried away on this first run up, maybe the A wave goes up to here, B wave comes down, C wave takes us out. For now, I'm not comfortable saying that with where we're at. This is my base case for the time being, up there around the $3 level. And looking at that, let's look at what each of these waves would be here, because we were talking about how each of those waves were like 400%, 500% before. Well, that A wave, 4.3x. This C wave in this scenario would be 4.2x, right? So pretty much in line. We see 330, 320. You see 367, 394, right? We're right in that area, measuring out like that. So that is the math, my friends. Let's look. Let's get this thing up to that 134 area, a knockback down to 73, right off to $3. That's how we do it here, my friends. Like I said, join the Quantum Circle, real-time trades, access to my portfolio, 2 macro videos a day, a Discord channel, and I teach you how to do TA just like me. Link to that in the bio. If not, just super appreciative you guys are here. If you could follow, like, repost, I want to help as many people as I can before it's too late. So hope you guys are having a great day. Talk to you later.